Hello there. This is Joe Campbell from Family Foundations Canada, and I just wanted to take a few moments today to help those who are been given the task of being an administrator on a seminar on some of the guidelines you may want to look at, think about, and implement doing a seminar. The first thing you might want to remember is that the administrator holds a host position with Zoom. That host position means that you are the person who will be not going into the breakout rooms that you will be creating. You will be staying in the main room and you will be operating uh, when people come in from the waiting room as they enter in the seminar, if they get bumped out of the seminar during the time because maybe their phone dies or their internet is connection is broken, they need to come back in. So the host, who is the administrator, will allow them to come back in. As well, in many cases, the administrator is also the one who runs the videos. Now, if that is so, the administrator, the host, must have one of two options. They must have dual screens so they can do the administrative functions, creating breakout rooms, admitting people in, which is on the participants panel, and they can do that on one screen and then operate the videos on the other. Or if you don't have dual screens, you'll need two computers. And you should use the best computer that you have for doing operating the videos. And the secondary computer would be doing the administrative functions. Now, as normally what happens in a seminar is the coordinator comes on first, and the coordinator then will turn over the host function to the administrator. And unless the administrator logs in first, but normally it would be the coordinator, then the administrator. And the host function then becomes the administrators, and now the host also, the administrator also must make the coordinator a co-host. And that co-host function is very is important, as well as the facilitators, when they come into the meeting, must be made co-hosts. And that's all you do is an administrator will go to the participants panel. And by the way, I would suggest right at the beginning here that the participants panel should be maintained by the administrator almost all the time on the right hand side, except when the video is showing. And that is, there's a good reason for that. It's just so that it's always there. You can see when people are bumped out. You can see and quickly go and let them back in. You can also assign them to a room if they've been assigned previously to a breakout room, because once they get bumped out, they have to be admitted in and they'll have to be reassigned to a breakout room, especially if they're in a breakout room when they were bumped out. So I'll go through that a little more in step by step in a moment. But just I wanted just to let you know is that if you're operating on two computers, you're probably going to have to the one that you're operating as an administrator for. You would probably have to keep your no sound on it. You have muted sound so it doesn't interfere with the other computer operating the videos. Or you can have them in a separate room. So you're going back and forth between two rooms. So it's you have to have it, think that out, because if you have side-by-side computers, they will interfere and squeal, and that doesn't work well. So let me just begin at the very beginning. So when the first night normally, we'll say it's a Friday night on a seminar, we'll take, for example, an encounter empowering relationships, I should say, empowering relationship seminar. The coordinator would open up the meeting and the administrator would come in, receive the host function, make the coordinator a co-host, and now it's time for the facilitators to come in because they will pray ahead of schedule. And not only will they pray ahead of schedule, but they will also be selecting the various teams, the ministry teams that will be in their breakout rooms. But so the first thing is that the administrator will do is, again, to have your participants bar on the right-hand side of the computer you're using. And now you're going to go and you're going to uh, make a breakout room. Now you want just one breakout room on the Friday night at the beginning, because that's where the facilitators will meet with the coordinator, and they will talk about what's coming up. They will pray, but they're also, most importantly, selecting the uh, the teams, the ministry teams. So um, the what you do there as administrator, you just go down and on the bring your cursor down to the bottom, and up will come the taskbar, and you will click on breakout rooms. And when you click on that breakout rooms, it will then give you the options to making a room. So now when you're going to make, in this case, you're just making one breakout room, but you also want to make sure just when that comes up, you will see, and I don't know if you'll see it on here, it's there's a automatically or manually. You want one room manually, and then you will click on create room. And so as soon as that create room is on, you can actually name it. You'll see it in the bar. You'll name it, and you will make it coordinators and facilitators room. And now, and then you open the room. You create it, then you open the room. Now it's open, and you can begin to, when people are coming in, and like the coordinator will be assigned to that room, and each of the facilitators, when they come in, will be assigned to that room. Now they will be coming in normally an hour or 45 minutes before everybody else is coming in. And so they will go to that room and they'll be meeting there. During that time when they're meeting and praying, selecting the teams, what will happen there is that people will begin to come in. The participants will begin to come in. So we will, the administrator at that time will be selecting, just allowing them to come in, making sure that their audio works, make sure their video is working, but not only that, but also to uh, make sure that the name that is on their webcam picture that will be there is the correct one. Because very often they might come up, their phone, like Galaxy 9 or something like that, or it might be some other name, it might be their spouse's name because they're coming on and the spouse normally uses a computer. So you want to make sure that their full name is, so Jane Smith or whatever, in my case it would be like Joe Campbell, that would be the name that would be there. And so you want to make sure they're coming in. So as they're coming in, make sure that they're doing that. And you can have them select gallery view if they haven't already got that, and just so that all the pictures, the little squares, the webcams are all there. And the webcams are called, of course, videos. Now they will get instruction that they really have only two functions that they really have to worry about or be concerned about, is the video, which is their webcam, which is the bottom left of the taskbar, and their mute or unmute, which is at the bottom left as well of the taskbar. Now they will be able to use chat during the time, but they'll be instructed to use chat only, not to be chatting to each other just about the seminar, but rather if they have a problem, if they need help from the administrator, or they need help from the coordinator, or from one of the facilitators, they can use the chat to get that. And sometimes they just need help. I don't know where I'm at. I got to get out of here. So the chat will be used for that position. We don't use any of the other ones. I know there's reactions and share screen. The share screen will only be used by the person who are showing the videos and who are showing the breakup, sorry, the time button that will be used, letting them know how many minutes left before the next video begins, and putting up the various where the offering goes to, or books that may be purchased, or where, or whatever special announcements would put up. And that's normally done with PowerPoint using the share button. But we'll get to that in a moment as well. So anyway, now that the the coordinator and the facilitators are praying, and they will now come and they will have a team a list. And I really do advise that the coordinator would make it in a Word format with each of the teams, with the coordinators' names and with the team, each of the participants in their breakout room 1, breakout room 2, breakout room 3, and name uh, the leaders as the facilitators. So if say it would be John Smith and Mary Green are the facilitators, it would be their room. So you put their both names in breakout room 2 and breakout room 3, breakout room 4. Now, you won't do that though until the video is beginning to show, the seminar has begun. So going back again, once the correct coordinators and facilitators are meeting, once they have met, they will come back into the main room to be with all the others coming in, and the coordinator will get the list of the teams to the coordinator. It's best to, however you want to do that, email it or whatever. Personally, I like to get it, and then I can put it, if it's in a Word format, I can put it in and print it out and have it sitting right beside me, because now ahead of time, of course, the list should be given by the coordinator to the administrator for all the people who are going to be on the seminar. And so you'll need that one, and that's a separate one, that for when they're coming in, to make sure that everyone who is registered actually does come into the seminar. Now, the coordinator will need to know if after they finish meeting that there are 3 or 4 people that didn't get into the seminar. He will need to know that, so that they can adjust the different breakout groups, the small team ministry groups. So, but once they get you the various ones as administrator, they get to you the teams, the ministry small groups. You will be able to now begin to make them, but you don't make them until the first video begins. When the video begins, and the coordinator will ask you to play the first video. At that time, you will have the video set up on your computer. Like I say, if depending on whether you have a 1 computer or 2 computer setup, you will get the video prepared to go. Now, you would also very often on this first Friday night, normally, typically, it would be a YouTube worship video as well. The coordinator will tell you. So when you're doing as administrator, what you want to do is to go to, say, the YouTube, make sure you get the YouTube song, make sure that the ad is finished. Normally, many of them have an ad at the beginning, so you can go to skip ad, and then you pause it and minimize it, okay? And then also, you'll want to have the first video that you're doing for the seminar, you want to have it also ready to go, and it'll be paused and minimized. Now that's important to do those 2 things, to have them ready. And so what will happen next is when the seminar begins and the coordinator will come in, and he or she will speak to the participants and tell them what's about to happen and give them instructions and help them get familiar with some of the controls on the panel for the Zoom. And then the coordinator will say, please begin the worship video. And so the administrator will then go to the computer that's being used for videos, and you will hit the button at the bottom, share screen. Then when you hit share screen, you will need to make sure that when that comes up, you'll see the different ones that can be selected, ones that you've minimized and are open and ready to go. You will then click on to, in this case, it would be a YouTube video, and you would make sure that before you want to see the little at the bottom, there's also an optimize button. Click on the optimize buttons for whenever you're playing a video. So you click on that. That's necessary to do that to get a clear video. You click on that, and then you click on share button at the bottom. Immediately, uh, the video that you selected, the music video, will pop up and it'll go full screen. You'll need to enlarge if it's not full screen immediately, you'll just need to enlarge it from the video itself, just making sure it's a full screen showing. And so after that video is finished, you will stop share. By the way, if you're using YouTube videos, it's very important. You'll stop the share, and it will be at the very top normally, the stop share button. You just put the cursor up and it'll be there. And what you will do at that time is then make sure you stop the YouTube video, because then YouTube is notorious for the next video with an ad, when normally it's an ad that will come on immediately. So you must exit out. So just make sure it's X'd out, and then allow the coordinator to talk to the people on the gallery view. She'll be speaking, or he will be speaking. Then the coordinator say, so let's start. Here's the first video. Here's Craig Hill. And now you, as administrator, you will again go to share screen, select the first video that's going to be showing. You've minimized it, as I said before, and you will press, again, make sure it's optimized, and then press share. Once the video begins, it should be in full screen, and you'll be there, and it'll be set to go. And normally, the first video is only about 20 to 25 minutes, when Craig does the introduction. During that time, it's really important that you've got to now use that time efficiently to begin to make the breakout rooms. So what you will do is go to your computer that you're administrating on. Like I say, it probably won't be, unless you have dual screens, you will be going on your computer, and you need to select the participants panel always on the right, and then on the bottom you'll select your breakout rooms. Now because you opened them once, you need to close them, and close them completely, and reopen them by recreating. So click on the recreate rooms. Suddenly the panel will come up, select manual, select the number of breakout rooms that you require. Now you'll probably, let's say there's 4 ministry groups, so you're going to create 5 rooms. One for the coordinators and the facilitators to meet, and the other 4 for the ministry groups. And again, one of the things you'll need to know is if the ministry teams are using one computer, or if there's 2 computers that they're using. Sometimes a husband and wife are on the same computer to minister. Sometimes they're on 2 computers. So you need to know that, because they need to both of them be put into a breakout room. So what you'll do is you now will go, you've got 5 breakout rooms. You just put your cursor up on breakout room 1, name it to be whoever the facilitators are, John Smith and Mary Green. And then you put that to be the name of it. Then you assign them to that room. And then you put each of the people, the participants, you assign them to each of the rooms, and you go down, breakout room 2, breakout room 3, breakout room 4. You don't do anything with the coordinators and facilitators room at this time. Just leave that open, because that's why the facilitators and coordinators are made co-hosts, because they'll be able to move to that room anytime they wish as a co-host. No, participants can only move between the breakout room and the main room. That's all they're allowed. But the co-host can move from room to room. However, so now you've got the room set up, but you do not click open rooms. So the video's going on, they're in the small groups, their video's going on, and they're in the main room. and you've got the thing ready. And so at the end of that video, the coordinator then will come and say, you're going to be doing your first ministry team together now. You're going to meet your facilitators and you'll be going to breakout rooms. And then the coordinator say to the administrator, would you please open the rooms now? And then you'll click on the open rooms. So you'll have the breakout panel on your screen. You'll have the participants panel on your screen at the right-hand side. And so you'll have both of those showing. So on the breakout room panel, you just click open rooms. When that happens, all the participants will receive a message to go to their rooms. And they will just, at that time, accept that and they'll zip away. Now what you'll see when you have your breakout panel up and you have your participants panel up is you'll see the people from all the people that were in the main room would be on the participants panel on the right side. They'll be leaving there. They're just one by one. They'll be going to the breakout rooms. Then you'll be able to see on the breakout panel that they've actually gone to the breakout room. And you'll see that a little red dot between each of the ones that you've assigned. And they will go there and you'll see them coming into the room, coming into the room, coming into the room. If somebody has trouble moving from the main room to the breakout room, you may want to assist them. And you can therefore talk to them. And that's why it might be good to, if you're in a separate room, you can don't have to worry about squealing or on your computer. But you can give them the instruction to how to get to the right room. Okay, to get to the, maybe they didn't click on the move to room or whatever, or to help them. Maybe you haven't assigned them correctly, and you can check that out and make sure they are assigned. And you'll be able to see that on the breakout panel, and you'll be able to see that where they're on the participants if they're in the main room. So once the rooms have started, then you'll just monitor. You'll be in the main room, as I said, and you won't be able to see pictures of who's in there in the breakout rooms. All you'll see is on the panel that they're in the rooms and that and it's proceeding. So after the time when they meet, you will, as an administrator, be knowing the time. You'll have the schedule from the coordinator, and so when there's normally when there's 5 minutes left to go, you can send a broadcast message saying 5 minutes to go. That will go to all the breakout rooms, and there'll be a little blue strip that comes up. It's not very big. It's hard to sometimes see. People miss it sometimes, but it'll just say 5 minutes to go. Then when there's 2 minutes to go, send another one saying 2 minutes to go. Check with the coordinator if they want the 5 minute and the 2 minute, or just want the 2 minute. You can check that ahead of time. By the way, it's really, really good. I didn't mention this, but for the administrator to have a cell phone and have the cell phone numbers. I like to have the facilitators and coordinators in my contact list so that if they're texting me, their names pop up. It's not just a number, it's a name. And so they can be texting you if there's a problem, if they need you to do something, if something is not working correctly. And then you can also talk to the coordinator. The coordinator should be floating and can be going from room to room to help solve problems, to listen in to the ministry that's going on. So again, you've given the message, 5 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go, and then at the end of that time, they will leave. Now, it's good not to close the rooms at this time necessarily, but you can on the first night. You can close the rooms and that shuts everybody down if there's still ministry in those rooms. But on the first one, you don't really want to close the room. Okay, so let me just go back and say that on the first video, the first admission video that they're going to be watching, the first introduction video, do not close the rooms after they leave. Leave them open so that after they'll be watching. Yeah, let me just state that back. I didn't say that correctly. So after the breakout rooms and they're asked to go back to the main room, do not close the rooms. Just leave them open. They'll be watching another video normally, and then at the end with that video, they'll be told just to go to their breakout rooms. And each of the participants will just, because the rooms are still open, they'll click on leave room and they'll go to the breakout room. And by the way, they can leave their breakout room anytime they want by clicking leave room, and they'll go back to the main room, and then they can leave the meeting. However, if they click the wrong button, if they click the red leave button, they will leave the whole Zoom and they'll have to be reintroduced. So please consider that as something you may want to do, is just be monitoring if they get bumped out. Okay, so at the end of the second video, they'll go to ministry times and they can go themselves. And at the end of that ministry time, if you want, again, give the 5-minute warning, the 2-minute warning, and then, but very often some people want to stay, some facilitators want extra time to ministry. I would not close the rooms at that time and until everybody's out of the rooms, and then close the room. But you'll be seeing them, they'll be coming from the breakout rooms into the main room. They'll be saying goodbye as they're leaving for the night. And that ends the night. And by the way, as a host, you're the only one that can shut the Zoom meeting down. So before you make sure that when the coordinators, sometimes the coordinators will meet with the facilitators for a little bit longer in their room, and they might want to talk. So you'll have to stay there. You'll be staying in the main room, and you'll just wait until they're finished. And then when they're all finished and they come back into the main room, then you can close the meeting, end meeting, which you have at the bottom right will be, it says end, and you would end the meeting, okay? Now, the next day, on the second day, you're going to be going back and doing very much the same thing. You're going to come in, you're going to, the facilitators will meet with the coordinator, and so the administrator needs to be host, needs to open, create a one room for the coordinators and facilitators to go there, and then they will meet there. And in the meantime, again, if there's a video, worship video, you want to make sure that it's up and ready to go. In other words, you've opened it up in YouTube, you've minimized it, you paused it, type of thing, and it's ready to go. You also want to have your next video ready to go. And so you'll get that video again, open it up, paused, minimized, ready to click for share and get it going. But on this one, so they're meeting in their room and they're going through they're praying. And so the facilitators and coordinator will come back into the main room. Coordinator will begin to speak about what is coming, and they will show the first video. Now, depending on the seminar, there might be 2 videos in a row, and then they will go to a breakout room. So you have a lot more time normally in most seminars to create the breakout rooms. And so again, you'll go through the shutting down the coordinators and facilitators room and creating all new rooms. Now, the reason we do this, somebody say, well, why would you shut them down? Why do you just leave it open and create new ones? The only reason for that is because if you can do that, but if you do, when you open the rooms, the coordinator, sorry, the facilitators can only go to the room that they last left. So actually, it's just easier to create the rooms, and now they'll go to their right room with their people, and they don't have to be moving around. So it's just easier for them if you just close them down, open them up, get it ready to be opened up, and then when it's time for them to meet for their first ministry session, you just click open rooms, and they will get an invitation, and off they go. And so that is a way it would go for the, you just leave them open for the day. And even at the lunch break, you know, you'll put up on the share screen, you'll put up a timer. If you have one, yeah, we can send you a timer as well if you want, or you can have your own timer or use the one that Neil has created, Neil Campbell, for overall the supervisor for FFC in Canada, and you can use that. And but that will all be done by the administrator. So you may want to just coordinate or talk to Neil or whoever. Neil's probably best. Just make sure you've got the proper things to be able to put up for the offering and for the any advertisings, anything like that. Okay, and the timers. So, and again, at the end of the day, then you would want to make sure that it is all shut down. Now, just one couple things is that you might want to remember as well is that if it's a blessings generation seminar, you may want to talk with the coordinator, and that one you may want to on the second day is to make sure that you open the breakout rooms right at the very beginning. And the reason for that is so that the facilitators and the coordinators can go back and forth in that meeting time to make their name cards, to make the name, the blessings for the names. So that is another possibility you may want to think about. But I'll just leave that for now. Again, I just want to say mainly the administrator, what they will be doing is making sure that people who get bumped out get back in. If they get bumped out when they're in a breakout room, you'll have to reassign them immediately to the right room. That's why it's important to have a list of all the breakout rooms and where the people are. The main list that you would have the first night with just a list of participants doesn't help you if you don't know which breakout room there to go to. So you need that list, the main list, first night, but then and then on the second day as well, to make sure they all get back in, and just tick them off when they come in so that you know if anybody didn't make it in or was delayed or whatever. And you tell the coordinator, they can deal with that issue. But then as well to have the rooms in the correct breakout rooms, the small ministry room groups, so that you can, in case they get bumped out, you can assign them. Now, one advice is that if they are in the main room and they get bumped out and they bring them back in, just take note of them. I wouldn't assign them immediately back into the room that they were bumped out of. Because what happens if you do that, if you assign them to the breakout room where they had been in, and you do it when the video is on, they'll get a message, their own personal message, to leave and go to the breakout room. So it just causes confusion, and people might leave and find themselves in the breakout room. They're only one there, so you'll have to bring them back. So what I would do is wait until the video is over. You ask the people to move over to their breakout rooms, and then you will assign that person at that time. But if they're in the breakout room, they need to get back in, so you'll need to assign them then. If they're in the main room watching a video, wait until the next breakout room time goes, and then put them in. So I hope that's not confusing. Like I say, it is important to know with regard to the video, if people, facilitators, are using two computers or one computer, you'll need to know that. And I think I'm going to stop there. I'm just looking at my notes right now and seeing if there's anything that I may have missed. So again, just to make sure that the participants, that's really a coordinator duty, do not hit the leave red button, the red leave button, but the blue buttons are safe. That takes you to the breakout room. the red buttons take you right out of the meeting completely. Okay? And I like to have, as an administrator, I like to have my breakout, my participants panel on the right side, my breakout panel here, and in gallery view. So I see all the little squares of all the people on my computer. Okay, so I'm going to end there. I hope that I've covered everything. I may do this over again if I have to, but I wanted to say thank you. Hope that I've answered some questions. There are notes as well that you can go to. There are notes if you go in the coordinators page and then into the various seminars. There's actually notes for the participants, for the coordinator, and for the administrator. And those will probably be updated as well in the future, but they are there on the coordinator's login page, and each of the seminars have these instructions for the administrator, coordinator, and the participants. So thank you very much for being with Family Foundations, and thank you for being with the seminars. And again, there might be more we need to know with some of them, such as the Overcoming Anger seminar. There's have the stick available so that you can show the various clips. There are many, many clips in the middle of the video teachings, and but they are on the stick, and you can just go from one to the other seamlessly. So you may want to just familiarize with that. Name cards, again, for Blessing Generation Seminar, we want to make sure that the coordinator gives instructions of how to do the name cards and how they will be sent out to the individuals who will be receiving the ministry in the breakout rooms. The administrator doesn't really have to worry about that, but just to know that that will be happening. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope this has helped. God bless you, and have a great time administrating in this great ministry.